welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Beth, also known as Bemmy's Bookshelf, and this week we are reading spooky, scary, horror, thriller, all of those type of books. I say it like that because the three books that I've picked out, to be honest, I can't actually find what genre they're all in apart from one, so I'm gonna title it spooky books or horror books, but you might say that I'm incorrect, and that's fine. So these are the three books I have picked out for this week. These are my priority, but I do have a few other horrors, and I've also got some audiobooks on my phone. Let's talk through these. First we have Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. This is a book that I have heard so much about. I'm obviously not going to spoil anything, but just look. There's scary hidden pictures in this book and I am so excited. I'll read you a bit of the back. Mallory is delighted to have a new job looking after gorgeous 5-year-old Teddy. She's been sober for a year and a half and she's sure her new nannying role in the affluent suburbs will help keep her on straight and narrow. That is until Teddy starts to draw disturbing pictures of his imaginary friend Anya, and it's quite clear to Mallory and Teddy's parents, even in the crude childlike style, that the woman Teddy is drawing in his pictures is dead. So this sounds incredible. Really excited for this one. Next we have The House That Horror Built by Christina Henry. I don't really know what this is about, but I picked it up and it looks really good. Actually, I think it's about a cleaning job at a horror director's house, but she hears something in the basement and so obviously she's silly, and instead of calling the police she goes to have a look what it is. Finally, of course, we have Carrie by Stephen King. This is a horror classic and I am so excited to be reading this for the first time. It's way shorter than I thought and the font is really big as well, so I reckon I'll fly through this. I think I might start with this one. I've actually got a job interview to go to now at Waterstones, so I'm going to take this one with me, and if I'm early I can just sit and read. About Carrie because I'm 50 pages in and I don't know how I feel about it. I've laughed like 10 times whilst reading this book, and I don't know if that's a really bad thing to say, but it's so weird. I've seen the film, I think, like everyone else, and the 2013 one with Chloe Grace Moretz, and I think Stephen King's writing is something that I need to get used to, specifically his older writing. I've only read The Institute by Stephen King and that came out only a few years ago, so his writing was very modern. This was written in the 70s? I mean, it's set in 1979, so when was it written? 1974. So the language, the writing style, it's all very different. So far this has been very misogynistic. And Carrie has already been referred to as a big bag of lard, a big pudding, that she's got fat arms, spotty skin, a tampon being stuck in her pubic hair. They've talked about her breasts, like she's a 16-year-old girl, and it's just weird. Like I don't like it, it's very icky. On the plus side, it's very quick to get through. Like I'm finding this very fast paced and it's interesting. I think. I don't know if I hadn't watched the movie first I would find this interesting or not. I think I would find this quite boring if I hadn't watched the movie, because it's confusing. Like it is a little bit confusing the way it's laid out. It's not really something that bothers me, but there's no chapters in this book, so it goes from one person, it's third person, but it goes from one person's point of view to another's, to another's, to a news article, to a interview, to a, and because there's no chapters to separate it, it gets a bit confusing, but it's fast to get through and I'm enjoying that. It's the 31st of October. Happy Halloween, everyone. I've got a little pumpkin here to give all the spooky vibes. Not really spooky, but I'm gonna sit and read. I've got maybe about half an hour of reading. I'm watching a new booktuber who I found, and I'm blind as a bat, so I can't read her name, it's on my TV. Lottie Smalley? I'm so blind. Anyway, if you know who I'm talking about, that's who it is. I'm watching her 24-hour readathon, reading the book, and hopefully I can finish this today. I also do want to point out, I haven't watched the movie since I was like 14, so over 10 years ago, so my mind's very foggy with it. But just some context from the beginning of this book. Harry's mum never taught her about transitioning into womanhood, getting your period. She never told her about any of that. So Harry started her period in the girls' changing rooms in PE class at school and thought she was dying, like literally thought she was dying, and all the other girls made fun of her and laughed at her and threw things at her. And she's in hysterics. She's just confronted her mum about it now, but she's in hysterics because her mum never told her what a period was. But like, did she not ever learn that in school? Because I feel like I learnt about periods in school before my mum told me what they were. Then again, this is the 70s, so maybe it was different back then? Oh no, can I talk whilst I'm covering my eyes? I've just got home. I've just got home from a Halloween house party. I dressed as Elphaba, and as you can tell by my eyes, I'm a little bit drunk. But all I want to do is read Carrie. Because I'm really not that... I've not got much left. Can you see where like there's the split in the page? That's all I've got left. So I really want to finish it, but my camera's flashing. This eye is so tragic. If I even put this on the internet, oh my goodness. Anyway, I'm gonna read Carrie because that's all I want to do. I feel like all I want to do is read this goddamn book, and I just want to finish it because I know it's going to take me so quick to get through, and I just feel annoyed if I don't finish it by 12 p.m. It's currently, it's 11:52. There's no way I'm going to finish this in 8 minutes. Okay, I'm going to read my silly... I finished Carrie by Stephen King. I enjoyed it. Did not like the writing style at all. I'm settling on a 2.5 because it was just average. I read The Institute by Stephen King and loved it. I think I either gave it a 4.5 or even a 5-star. I can't remember off the top of my head. So I was kind of expecting a lot from this book. Obviously it is one of Stephen King's most famous novels. However, I think I've come to the conclusion that I'm just not into older writing styles. This was written in 1974 and I'm really struggling to get my words out. I just found it a little bit misogynistic. I found it a bit icky at times, just the way King writes about a 16-year-old having her period for the first time in quite a derogatory way. He calls her fat. There's so much fat phobia in this book, and obviously I know it's not Stephen King's words, it's the words of the bullies in this book, but he still wrote them, and they just made me feel a bit like he calls her a fat lard and a dumb pudding. He says that a tampon gets stuck to her pubic hair, and they talk about her breasts a lot. They're called dirty pillows. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it was written... It's very outdated, obviously. It was written in the 70s, which is fine. I'm not gonna slander it too much based on that. So we'll get away from that now. The actual story itself, I really enjoyed. I've watched Carrie, the movie, before. I actually watched it again this morning, as soon as I finished this book. I really enjoyed, like, the back and forth pacing of the book as well, because it encouraged suspense, I think. The way that there were different narrators in this book. It's in third person, but there was kind of different narrators in this book saying, you know, what happened on the night of the 27th of May at 10:30 p.m. blah 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 blah, and that's kind of sprinkled throughout the book, and then obviously at the end you find out what happened, which I thought was a really fun and interesting and different way of pacing this book. So I really enjoyed that. It was literally just the way it was written, the words used, that knocked it down for me. Other than that, it was really fast paced, it kept me hooked, and it was really short. I did get through this quite quickly and I enjoyed it. Decided now that I'm gonna pick up The House That Horror Built by Christina Henry. I really want to read Hidden Pictures, but the font is so small and it's quite a bigger book that I feel like I'm going to leave that to the end because I want to fly through this one. This one's got kind of medium-sized text and it's around 350 pages, I believe. Oh, under that. So I reckon I can get through this one quite quickly. It does sound really good. It's about a single mum who is really into horror films, and she gets a cleaning job at a horror director's house and she hears something in the basement. So obviously, because obviously in these types of books and films, people don't just mind their own business. She checks it out. And that's kind of all I know. She says that her boss has secrets she can't ignore. And I've heard a lot of praise for Christina Henry's books. I've not read any of her books before, but I do have Alice by Christina Henry, which I think, well, is an Alice in Wonderland retelling, I'm assuming. So it's completely different to this one. I don't even know if this is a horror book, but I mean, it's called The House That Horror Built, so I can only assume. And I am very excited to start. I'm literally only 2 pages in, but already I'm seeing similarities with Carrie in the fact that the main protagonist, I'm assuming, in this book, her family's very religious and they don't let her see movies that are higher than G-rated, like they pray all the time. She goes to Christian summer camp, and that's very similar to Carrie. I just needed to come on here and say I'm absolutely eating this book up. For a start, I'm on page 78. I'm flying through this and I'm enjoying it so much. I honestly didn't have the highest expectations for this book, but I'm loving it, like actually loving it. But I just wanted to point out, so obviously the main character in this book is a horror film fan, and she says literally right at the bottom down here, Jordan Peele's Us is beautiful. And that is one of my favourite movies, and I've never heard anyone talk about it. And even like all my friends, they haven't seen it. Like nobody talks about that movie, and it's one of my favourite movies. Like it is actually one of my top 5 favourite movies. And I'm glad that it's been given praise in this book, because I just don't hear anyone talk about it. And if you've not watched it, you should, because it's such a fantastic film. I was starting to think I'd got it wrong and this isn't a horror book, but I'm getting a little bit spooked. She's in, so Harry is the main character. She's cleaning the director's house and he has loads of props in his house from the movies he's directed. And the eyes in this mannequin are following her and the head is turning. And that's scary, and it also reminds me of Scooby-Doo. You know, in like the Scooby-Doo movie where the eyes, I think it is in a mannequin, follow Shaggy, I think. I'm literally spacing out, I don't know. I finished The House That Horror Built by Christina Henry. Guys, it was so good. So good. I gave this 4.5 stars. I thought it was so mysterious, so suspenseful. It was a horror, it was a paranormal horror, and I knew that before I went into it. So when I read another book, I won't say which one because I don't want to spoil it, there was paranormal aspects at the end of the book and that turned out to be the twist, and I had no idea that it was going to be paranormal, so I didn't really enjoy that. However, I picked this up knowing it was a paranormal horror, and obviously I'd be silly to pick it up if I knew I wasn't going to enjoy it. So that being said, incredible. If you haven't picked this up, the reviews on Goodreads aren't even like amazing, I'm not gonna lie, but for some reason I was just so drawn into this book. I thought the plot was really good, it was really fast-paced, layered, I really liked all of the characters. I wasn't bored once when reading this, and I don't know, it's so random, but I love this so much. I actually read this in one day as well, like from the morning to the evening. I literally read it in one day. Actually, not even the morning, I think I started at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I got through this really quick, and it's like 320 pages. It turns out that it's not someone hiding in the basement. There is a basement, but it's nothing to do with the basement. There's just a locked door at the end of the hallway, and there's constant bangs. There's someone saying help me, a woman, and it's spooky. I was so spooked when reading this, especially last night. I kept saying to my sister, oh my god, I'm scared. I was like, I'm so scared, I'm so scared. And she was laughing at me, and I was like, but this book is actually scary. I don't know what accent that was. This book was actually scary, and I was spooked. I will hold my hands up and say I was spooked, especially because it was paranormal, and I never read anything paranormal, but I enjoyed it, and I think I'm definitely going to pick up Christina Henry's books in the future. I do have Alice. I actually read a bit about her author bio, and it says she writes horrors and dark fantasies, so I'm guessing Alice is a dark fantasy, like retelling, so I'm really excited to get into that. But if you haven't picked this up, definitely do. So the final book I'm going to be picking up in this video is Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I'm really excited to read this one. This was the one I was most excited for. I was just put off a bit by the tiny text, but that really doesn't matter, does it? But I'm really excited to see what all the hype is about, and also to see what all these weird drawings are about as well. Because some of them are spooky. I mean, some of them are pretty tame, like that, but I'm just intrigued to know what these mean. There are some like scary ones at the back, so I don't know if I'll be reading this at night time, but I'm very excited. I'm just about to start Hidden Pictures. It's about 4 o'clock on a Tuesday, and I cannot lie, guys, I'm terrified to read this book. I don't know why, but I've heard it's so scary, and after reading The House That Horror Built, the fact that that spooked me, and that wasn't really that scary of a book, I'm a little bit petrified to read this. I mean, a 5-year-old drawing scary pictures is one thing, but the fact that the 5-year-old stopped drawing the pictures and now they're getting more sophisticated and now they don't know who's drawing them, that's scary. That is actually scary, and it's getting dark. It's winter, it's raining, it's like scary weather. But I've committed, so I'm gonna read it now. This is my MOTD, my mug of the day. It's a gorgeous Marie from the Aristocats. We all know, well, if you don't know, I do collect Disney mugs. This is a new raspberry tea that I have from Tetley that I got in a PR package, and it smells like sweets, like it smells delicious. Oh my god, do you know what it smells like? Those candy necklaces. That's what this smells like. Don't want to spoil all of the pictures, obviously, but it's gone 9 o'clock at night and I'm terrified because lovely drawing of them at dinner. Who is that? I know who it is, it's Anya, but she's terrifying. I feel like I need to start filming now because this book is getting so crazy, and I feel like something big's just been revealed, but we've still got this much to go, so I don't know if that's actually the revelation or not. I'm guessing not, because else there wouldn't be the rest of the book, but I really wish I could talk about this book in like immense detail, but this is a spoiler-free reading vlog and I can't. So if anybody wants to talk to me about this book, then talk to me about this book. Mallory's sister Beth died when she was young, and I think we are just about to find out what happened. I actually don't know what's scaring me more, these new advanced drawings or the ones at the beginning. But either way, I'm terrified. I feel like I might know who's drawing these pictures, and I really, really, really hope I'm wrong, because if I'm right, I'm going to be so annoyed. But it just feels like too much of a coincidence right now. I really wish I could say what I mean, but I'm on page 298, the scene where Adrian stays over at Mallory's cottage, so if you know, you know. The camera's going on. This is insane. Because why has the ending of this made me feel like crying? I've gone through every emotion whilst reading this book. 5 stars, 5 fat stars. I understand why everyone loved this book so much. Why am I crying? This is a scary book. This book was terrifying. But the ending, oh my god, my battery's flashing red, so I might get cut off. But if you've not read this book, please read it. Oh, don't read it if you're easily spooked. That probably wouldn't be very good, and I don't want to give you that advice. But if you're not easily spooked, read this book. It's literally got like every emotion. I laughed, I cried, I was scared, I gasped. Why didn't I read this sooner? I mean, it's blurbed by bloody Stephen King. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know. Let's recap on the books. So first in the video, I read Carrie by Stephen King. I actually changed my rating of this to a 3-star. After watching the movie, for some reason, made me realise that I did actually enjoy this book more than I thought. The House That Horror Bill, I gave 4.5 stars. I'm still solid on that rating. Really enjoyed this book. And then obviously, finally, as you just saw, Hidden Pictures, 5 stars. Such a good reading vlog. So good. That's all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!